Hi, I'm Todd Youngblood of the YPS Group with a few thoughts about sales process engineering and the impact and value it can have for your company. Sales process engineering is an analytical sales management methodology that, when implemented properly and well, can drive an 8 to 12% annual incremental increase in your effective sales capacity. It has that kind of power because the whole methodology is based on three core principles. Core principle number one: continuous improvement of your sales process is a fundamental necessity. I've been working with sales process engineering for almost 13 years now, and frankly, I've not had a single sales executive or professional argue with me about the validity of point number one. If you're this good and your competitor is this good right now, well, that's terrific. But if you're fat, dumb, and happy and your competitor is continuously improving, you're, relatively speaking, falling behind, and you'll wind up behind your competitor eventually. So, motherhood and apple pie, core principle number one: continuous improvement of the sales process is fundamentally essential. Interesting, everybody, as I mentioned, buys into core principle number one. What you don't know yet is that if you buy into core principle number one, buy into its validity, you've also accepted the validity of core principles 2 and 3. So let's get into those. Core principle number 2. Metrics, lots of them. Lots of different measurements of the sales process, of your sales process, are required to know the amount and the rate of your improvement. In fact, if you don't have measurements, there's no way you can know if you're even getting better at all, no less how much and at what pace. All you're doing is guessing, you're beating your chest and saying, I'm good and I'm getting better, without the hard data. Without numbers about sell cycles, conversion rates, close rates, you flat don't know if your sales process is getting better or not. You must have metrics. That's core principle number 2. Core principle number 3, in order to figure out even a single valid measurement of your sales process, you've got to have a definition of exactly what that sales process is. It's got to be written down. It's got to be understood and accepted by the entire sales force. Everybody needs to be speaking the same language, so that when I say it takes 32 days on average for a sales professional in my organization to get through the discovery phase of our sales process, everybody knows exactly what that means. So I have to have the process first. That's core principle number 3. I'm going to implement these in reverse. Core principle number 3, define my sales process, get agreement, have my whole sales force assist in the development and documentation of that sales process so that everybody agrees, everybody's speaking the same language. Once I have that process documented and in place, I can begin to define metrics. Here I am back at core principle number 2, so I can measure things like number of deals, size of deals, sell cycles per each stage, and close rates for each stage of the sales process. Now I have metrics. If you happen to have a 6-stage sales metric and you're using those 4, or 6-stage sales process and you're using those 4 metrics, that's 24 measurements right there of your sales process. And if all of those, or at least most of those, are heading in the right direction, i.e. improving by as little as 0.5% or 1% a year, that's what's going to produce that 8 to 12% annual incremental increase in your effective sales capacity. So that's a quick overview of sales process engineering. There's a lot more detail that falls underneath it, but define that sales process, measure it, and drive that continuous improvement. I hope you'll surf around the website a little bit more and get a little bit more information on the power that sales process engineering can have for your organization. Thanks for listening.